Welcome back, YouTube. It's not another whiskey show with another whiskey review, but this time we're talking turkey. Wild turkey, and it's their famous 101 product that we're going to be comparing against all of their different product lines that I can manage to bring. Now, they have lots of different expressions, but this one is particularly their 101 proof that I want to explore. Um, Now, there is a lot of wild turkey history that we could share. I think the important part that I'm going to really talk about now today is that these are, of course, 101 proof or 50.5% alcohol. They're non-age stated, at least for the majority of the products. They're rumored to be 8 years. At least this single barrel that we'll talk about, they put it everywhere. 8 years in the marketing material, nowhere on the actual bottle itself. But then we've got a very special entry to also discuss too. So let's do a little bit of a three-way. Now, it's not a blind comparison, but I have to admit I've explored all of these, and I don't necessarily think that a blind would be all that necessary in this case, because they are fairly distinct, but we're going to try each one of them and give them sort of their comparison. So for the camera, I'm going to put 101 on the far right. I'm putting the single barrel version of this that came out. It was the second type of single barrel on the bourbon market, following, of course, Buffalo Trace's Blanton's. This is hand selected by now probably Eddie Russell, or even his son that's working there. But just so you can see my reactions, I'll put them like that. So the Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit is going to be in the middle. And for those of you who are really interested, this came from Warehouse B on Rick 24. It was bottled on August 22. So yeah, quick aside, I know that you can get a lot of different profiles on those Wild Turkey Rick houses or warehouses. Definitely interested in trying some of them, Camp Nelson and Tyrone and stuff. But yeah, at this point, I'm happy with this bottle. Now, the last one is, of course, the really fancy travel exclusive Wild Turkey that has just now been more widely available in the States. We'll talk about the price and comparison for all this. And of course, be on the lookout for an individual review of this product. But we'll just be opening this for a small comparison. This, I don't want to spill any. Okay. So now we've got the 101, the Kentucky Spirit single barrel, and then the Wild Turkey 12-year. And of course, if you've followed much about Wild Turkey, I mean, everybody sort of thinks the older stuff is better, but and all of the recipes are evolving somewhat. I mean, they're pretty consistent, I think, but yeah. Now, I am still really excited to have this. You also might say, where's the rare breed? But of course, we're trying to keep it at this 101 proof to see if there is a difference in just how things get selected. So you can see they've been open, and I am using a mini for the 101 as I ran out, but and haven't bought a new one. But this should work just fine. So this is your standard Wild Turkey 101. And I guess I should nose them all maybe before I taste them. There's ethanol, not excessive. There's a note of honey and maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Now, I will also mention I get these little Glens. They're from the same company that does like a normal Glencairn that you might find on Amazon. I like them, but they change the way that the nose collects, so you have to sort of size it differently, or not size it, but like position it differently. And they do change the flavor somewhat. I mean, we'll have to do a video on how flavor is impacted by glassware, and there's a lot of cool videos out there, but this is subjectively a little different. But okay. Now, I didn't describe the single barrel at all, sorry. This one is definitely more pronounced across the flavors. The ethanol sharpness is almost entirely absent. A much deeper honey caramel type note now. There is some graininess, but not in a way that necessarily screams new. Very nice. And it is a, I hate to say it, a pretty clear step up, at least on the 101 profile. Okay, so now the 12-year, again, this is more of a Japanese travel market release. This one does have English, so this wasn't from Japan, at least originally, but all right. Oh, I mean, guys, I wish I could say there was a reason not to buy this one or that it wasn't worth the money, but immediately what had bloomed in the single barrel Kentucky Spirit has evolved into something that smells like liquid caramel. Very rich, dense, sweet. There's sweet oak, citrus. If I would describe it as an ethanol, I would say it's the flavor, or sorry, aroma of like a really not rotten but overripe fruit basket, in the way that you almost get that high note of sort of the fruits like volatilizing almost. Okay, let's go in for the taste. Cheers to you. This is the 101 standard release. I mean, there's a reason this is so popular. Honey, cinnamon, a little bit of caramel, sweetness, like a sweet oak note that finishes, that persists towards the end. You know, for folks who are brand new to bourbons and probably maybe used to like 80% vodka spirits or something like that, rums, tequila, 101 is a pretty big jump up. It's not gonna just immediately seduce your palate, I don't think. But as far as higher proof spirits go, this one is definitely smooth, if you can use that word. Yeah. My main critique would be the relative simplicity and the overall sort of short finish. But at what is normally $25 for a 750, certainly can't go wrong, and should be a staple. Okay, now the more controversial Kentucky Spirit. I say controversial because it generally costs as much or a little bit more than Rare Breed, minus about a dozen proof points or so. And you know, you could argue sort of the if it's okay to like this. Even I see a lot of people who are just like, it's flat out wrong and you should like Rare Breed, and that's a great product, but I think this is a really fine one too, although it is probably about $60. All right, let's taste it. Cheers. Yeah, guys, I mean, they know what they've got in that they're not afraid to charge more for a premium, where, and I don't mean this out of 10, but where the flavor intensity is like a 3, I'd put this closer to like a 6 or a 7 or something. It's definitely double, if not more. The flavors, the caramel's more pronounced, the finish is longer, this sweetness, and oak is deeper. The sweetness of a brown sugar instead of what I might call like a honey water. Really enjoyable. I would say, again, people are going to lean towards rare breed, and that's fine. I would not be upset to receive this, or I think, again, a bourbon enthusiast, I don't think would be upset to receive one of these either as a gift. But now, the travel exclusive 12-year, this goes all over the board. I've seen it from 185 on up. This was 200, but yeah. Once again, if these are on the 1 to 10 intensity scale, this is like a 10 on the nose in terms of just really. Now I'm getting more of almost like a black cherry, where these other two had not quite crossed into a fruit. This one is. And just like a cherry caramel backbone. All right, cheers. Wow. Geez, that's so good. So the depth of the flavor, I think, is what strikes me most about this 12-year. It obviously benefits from, 50% longer of an 8-year, but the silkiness, the lushness of the mouthfeel really all speak to this being a super premium release. The persistence of the intensity, the palate, just doesn't quit. Still getting that evolving, fruit into caramel, into cinnamon spice. Lots of different sort of bourbon classic flavors cycling through and growing. So really fun. Again, we'll try to give each one of these releases its own respective examination, although I think they got a pretty good look here. In the end, is it worth the money? I think that really depends on you and your budget, in that there's no wrong answer. If you got it, flaunt it, and try one of these, once in your life at the very least. I do think there is a lot of overpriced stuff out there, and a lot of hype and a lot of FOMO. But if you can swing it, try it at a bar, do try to experience a bottle. I think it is a fun one to try. If, understandably, $200 splurge is not in the cards. Is it that much different than your $25 bottle 101 that you can get at any grocery, gas station, or liquor store anywhere in the country and possibly the world? The answer, it really is not so different that you're getting a mind-blowing experience. It's delicious, it's wonderful, and I feel like it's worth it. But, if you never tried it, you're only missing out on basically extra deep flavor of the original Wild Turkey you already know and love. So don't sweat that. Enjoy time with your family, or fix your car, or whatever you have to do, and use the money wisely. But yeah, that's enough. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I do hope you get to try all of these and continue watching with us for more cool content like this, more comparisons, and other spirits besides just whiskey to come. But until then, please do drink responsibly, treat each other well, and stay tuned. Thanks. Take care, everybody. Bye.